the gridiron or courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports Plus Life. Sports Plus Life.
ringside or front court or field pass, we ballin', no. Knuckle up or buckle up, I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or got to go.
Sports Plus Life.
Yeah.
Sports Plus Life.
Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's really good? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life. You heard? And y'all already know what's going down today, bruh. So guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Turn it off, turn it off, turn it all the way off now, boy. All right, man. Again, how is everybody doing today? Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns, and this is that show called Sports Plus Life, that there sports podcast where we talk about all of the necessary things in sports and all of the necessary things in life as well. So, I hope everybody is doing good. I hope everybody is doing good, feeling good. And it's a beautiful day. It's almost summertime. You know, it is Tuesday, May the 25th, 2021. And I'm just really trying to, get my head together. So, I mean, right now it's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just trying to still get my head together because, I mean, sometimes I just have to realize that 80 proof is not my friend all the time. I'm being serious, man. It was my day off, though. I mean, I'm just chilling. You know what I mean? Just chilling. But anyway, it's a great day, beautiful day. I done already picked my son up from school. He outside playing now. And, well, we got some things to talk about today. Boy, we definitely have a lot of things to talk about today. So, without further ado, my people, let's get to it. KWAME Brown has won the week. I talked about this just for a little bit last week. I didn't, go into elaborate detail, but I mean, when I tell you KWAME Brown has won the week, Mama's Cooking has taken over the world. KWAME Brown got mainstream media niggas shook. I mean, shook.
You niggas are crazy.
And I'm sure there's some that won't say that, that will say that they paying no attention to it. Bruh, man, when I tell you, every day for the last week and some change, KWAME Brown has been at people's throat. So much so that he's actually gotten apologies out of a couple of people. I mean, it's crazy. And you know what?
These nuts.
You know what? Just real talk. I ain't mad at him. I'm not mad at him one bit, because you talk about a guy who was just the object of ridicule for almost 20 years. Almost 20 years. Being called a bust and all of the other things that was said about him. And, and there's a difference between, critiquing somebody, as far as what they do as far as their craft. I mean, because everybody is a critic. I mean, I do that myself. So, but make no mistake about it. When I'm sitting here talking about an athlete, it's because I get passionate about this. When I'm sitting there talking about an athlete, and you might hear, I might have a voice in the background saying "you suck" like this.
You suck.
That just comes out of frustration. Now, I know when I first started this show almost 3 years ago, and damn, it has almost been 3 years that I've been doing Sports Plus Life.
Excellent.
The main person that I used to get on was Case Keenum when he was a quarterback for my Denver Broncos, because I was unhappy with his play. I love my football team, and every year, I want to see my team get to the Super Bowl like any other football fan. Like, anybody, if you know me, you know how passionate I am about the Denver Broncos. But trust and believe, I can't do what Case Keenum can do at the level that Case Keenum could do it at. Whether he's been on different teams, whether he's a journeyman or not, bro, it's still good enough to be able to get a quarterback job consistently every year. So in that regard, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. But like I said, it's a difference between critiquing somebody's play that's not living up to par, But then there's a whole nother level when it comes to just virtually bullying. You know what I mean? So like when the whole thing happened with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes and Gilbert Arenas, they woke up a sleeping giant. I mean, Kwame Brown has been getting this for damn near 20 years, like I said earlier. And he's got a lot of pent-up frustration and a lot of pent-up... I don't even want to say frustrated because it looked like he having fun. It looked like he really is having fun with this. But at the same time, any grown-ass man is not going to sit there and continuously let you disrespect his name. No matter how long it takes for them to clap back. When they clap back, you gonna feel it.
Fuck you,
you gonna feel it. And then from Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes and Gilbert Arenas quickly made that peace with him. Because you talking about a dude, all y'all was teammates. And you talk about a dude that knows the good, the bad, the ugly, and the very ugly about y'all. And and he is putting it out there on Front Street. Plus, dude be hilarious. Like, dude is actually, like, if you, I've been so intrigued not because I want anything to be gassed up, but when I listen to him talk, because first of all, aside from being funny, his message is very inquisitive. And you can tell that his heart is in the right place. But most importantly, and I think the best thing is that clearly this dude cannot be bought. This dude does not care about being put on a famous platform. It's crazy because this platform he has now, he built it. I guarantee you right now that there is a media outlet, streaming outlet, something that would pay Kwame Brown 8, possibly 9 figures today. Because over the last week, this dude has been doing numbers on YouTube. And that's one reason probably why he don't need to sign with nobody. He don't need to sign with nobody to do a podcast or nothing like that, because if you get a certain amount of views on your channel, YouTube is sending you a check anyway.
Biatch.
And they done tried to shut down the channel because of the content and the language that he's using. But then again, you know what? If this is America and we have the right to free speech, what are you trying to shut somebody's stuff down for? If there's not an agenda in place here. And he is calling all of that out to the carpet. And then boy, I'm gonna tell you, the worst thing that Charlamagne the God could have ever done was get in that business, get in that beef between Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, and Kwame Brown. And because Charlamagne has said some things about this family, then not all of it was factually correct. First of all,
what's wrong with you?
But when he got into it, Kwame Brown has come for the Breakfast Club in a way that I don't think I've ever seen anybody come for anybody before. He brought up Kwame Brown's family past, which had nothing to do with him personally. And then Kwame has attacked Charlamagne about his past situation involving a minor. He done went after DJ Envy, his past situation as far as infidelity. I think he just coming after Angela Yee just to be petty. But I mean, when I tell you, it got so bad, people, that and I'm pretty sure anybody who's listening to this already knows this, but this past weekend, Charlamagne the God got a cease and desist letter sent to Kwame Brown from his attorney in regards to his situation and regarding a minor. He sent him a cease and desist. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when it comes to street cred, stuff like that makes you look like a bitch. I mean, to be honest with you, when you do that, I mean, it's like, yo, you went low, now I'm going low, and now you want to get your lawyers? Bruh, like, there is no street, you getting no cred for that. Like, none. So, when that didn't work, that didn't shut Kwame Brown up. It just said, okay, he just said, okay, publicly, I'm not going to call you a rapist. He said, okay, I won't do that. I will call you publicly what the charge that you pled to. So when that didn't work, Kwame's still talking. Yesterday, Charlamagne went on ahead and gave himself donkey of the day. Now look, I love Breakfast Club. You know what I'm saying? I love Breakfast Club. I listen to it every day. And he gave himself donkey of the day because now Joe Public is all locked into this situation. That's how much attention that it's gotten. And Kwame's winning. It's really that simple. Kwame's winning. So Charlamagne went and did this.
Donkey today for Monday, May 24th goes to me. Leonard McKelvey. Contrary to popular belief, this is not the first time I've given myself Donkey of the Day, because Donkey of the Day does not discriminate. I mean, I may be kind of biased towards certain people, but I don't have any bias when it comes to myself. If I'm wrong, if something I do or say doesn't sit right with my spirit, I have to apologize and do better moving forward, and that's what I'm about to do right now. I want to apologize to Kwame Brown and Kwame Brown's family. I want to apologize to his father, Bill Brown, and the family of his father. See, last week on this radio, in my attempt to defend a Charleston, South Carolina-born brother like myself, I revealed too much information about that man's family. And even though all that stuff is public record, some things just don't need to be said on the radio, and they definitely don't need to be said by me. When I look back, on the way I communicated that, I communicated it all wrong. And I unintentionally triggered trauma in a lot of folks I grew up with, who I genuinely love. I'm sure I caused a lot of pain for not only Kwame Brown, but for his family, especially his family in my hometown of Moncks Corner, South Carolina. You know how I know? Because I spoke to a few of them. I've been on the phone this weekend with mothers of children and their children. Salute to Shaliba and her daughter, Brianda. I was on the phone with sisters like Wallet. Salute to Wallet. Oh, she cursed me out good. And, I was apologizing for triggering them, causing them pain, because I was casually discussing their family's trauma, man. And that's something that I have to stop doing. That's something that we all have to stop doing. I was talking to my Sacred Purpose coach, Yadi Alba, this weekend. She's like a spiritual therapist. I have her and my clinical therapist, and that's what we were talking about, how we casually discuss each other's traumas. I didn't even think about, when I spoke on, Kwame and his family, how many people were impacted by those things I was speaking on. I mean, that's generational.
And very much so. It is very generational now. The only thing about the apology is that pretty much everybody know it's because of the cease and desist. Now, I can't sit here and tell you what's in Charlemagne's heart. I can't do that. But what it looks like, from the outside looking in, after the cease and desist was sent, and that didn't work per se, it still wouldn't get him quiet. And now Joe Public is clearly on the side of Kwame Brown. Now the apology comes, and okay, like, it was the right thing to do, but it's like it was almost a motive behind it, because now it seems like you're just trying to save face now. But I mean, it is what it is. But now this was Kwame Brown's response.
So I'm gonna have to say respectfully, and with all due pleasure, that I do not, on behalf of my family in South Carolina, these Geechees, myself, all of my brothers, my 16-year-old son that didn't know that bullshit, and all the people in America that did not know that bullshit. So on behalf of all of us, I have to say, fuck your apology.
Well, I mean, all I can say is sometimes you hit a trigger that gets so deep, that is so deep to a person that, sometimes your apology just for real, just ain't gonna cut it. Whether it came from the right place or the wrong place, whether you said it because you actually meant it or you just saying it just to save face in the eye of the public. Honestly, he's not trying to hear it. He has not let up. He has not let up at all. He's still, Steven Jackson is also, he put up an apology. He didn't say it publicly, but he put up an apology on his IG page. I mean, what can you say? Like the old saying goes, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. And even biblical verse, those who were last shall one day be first. And my man is clearly winning right now. I mean, hell, I was just watching Bill Bellamy and Corey Holcomb on Bill Bellamy podcast, them like tripping, Bill Bellamy saying that he need Kwame to open for him because he is funny as hell. And a lot of people didn't even know what his voice sounded like because he's been taking all of this punishment, all of this ridicule for almost 20 years. And now he started to clap back. And he is coming after all media outlets who have ever spoken bad on him. He's come after, obviously, the Breakfast Club. He even came after Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Michael Wilbon, Jamel Hill. All of these people who I absolutely love when it comes to sports talk, but I'm going to be honest with you, at least in the case of Stephen A. Smith. And now y'all know that is my guy. I love Stephen A. Smith. I love the work that he's done. Because of Stephen A. Smith, that it's because of him that I would want to do journalism aside from doing music. Anything else that I've said this for almost the last 10 years, if I was to go back to school for anything, it would be for sports journalism. And largely in part, it is because of that man right there. So I have nothing but respect for Stephen A. Smith, but at the same time, my brother, you owe that man an apology. I can't say this for nobody else in the media outlet when it comes to sports talk, but you owe him an apology. Because like I said earlier, there's a difference between critiquing somebody, being critical of somebody's play on the NBA level, and being excessive and borderline bullying, or just flat out bullying. And I'm not even being funny. All of the bona fide scrub stuff and things like that, okay, whatever. I mean, but still, even still, with saying that, you can't label him in particular a bust, because he did stay in the league for 12 years and made over $60 million. So while you were sitting there calling him a bona fide scrub and a bust, there was an NBA team, there was an NBA owner, there was an NBA general manager, 7 of them to be exact, because he played for 7 teams. That's why I would give him journeyman status instead of a bust. But there were 7 different owners and 7 different general managers for 7 different teams that thought he was good enough to keep him on an NBA roster for 12 years. So that pretty much takes that out the door, and that's what Jalen Rose was trying to tell you on video that has resurfaced from 10 years ago. Somebody is giving Kwame Brown all this information that is fueling his fire, and he is coming for niggas. He is. And Jalen Rose, and I heard Keyshawn Johnson and Jay Williams all defending Kwame Brown, saying, wait a minute, how can you call somebody a bust that was in the league for 12 years? And think about this, he got to live out his dream. I mean, he got to accomplish something that very few college basketball players are going to accomplish, and even fewer high school basketball players have ever accomplished. And that is going to the NBA. And not only that, he made history, becoming the first ever player drafted number 1 straight out of high school. LeBron James did not do it. Kobe Bryant did not do it. Kevin Garnett did not do it. None. And now I know I'm talking about Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers, but they didn't do it. But Kwame Brown did. And like I said, he had a 12-year career. Now, did it live up to his draft? Did it live up to his draft stock? Did his career live up to him being a number 1 draft pick? No, it didn't. But instead of coming in his neck, did you come in Michael Jordan's neck? Because he the one that drafted him. Did you come at the owner of the Washington Wizards? Did you come at any of them the way you came at Kwame Brown personally? And that's the only thing I would have to ask Stephen A. Smith is, what did Kwame Brown do to you personally? And why I say that is because, okay, the bona fide scrub and all of the histrionics that was on First Take a long time ago, okay, whatever. I mean, you're elevating your stock by tearing somebody else's name down, and people need to stop and think about that, because you don't know how that person feels. I mean, at that point in time, that video that surfaced 10 years ago of you and Skip Bayless trashing Kwame Brown, do you understand that could have affected his ability to feed his family, because basketball was his profession at that point in time in his life, and he was 10 years into his career. So bye, bitch. Scrub, bust, that goes out the window. I mean, Lord, what if Jamarcus Russell gets the courage to come out and talk against people who have said things about him? Now, that's a totally different topic, another conversation for another day. But while I say Stephen A. Smith was excessive, I did not believe Kwame Brown when he said that Stephen A. went to universities, to college campuses, and threw dirt on his name. I did not believe that. I thought he was being overdramatic until I actually saw a video of Stephen A. Smith talking at FIU and a couple of other universities, and he was throwing dirt on Kwame Brown's name. And I'm like, yo,
wrong with you?
You're basically going to universities telling these current students or future students to not be like somebody who at that point in time in his life, and is still in his life, a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. I'm like, where they do that at? That's why I say that is excessive. That is going above and beyond the Call of Duty to trash somebody, bruh. Like, straight up. I understand. If that's your job, I understand. But, you're trying to elevate your status at your job by crushing somebody else's. That's not cool. That's why I said, what did he do to you personally? Because when you go to universities, Kwame Brown, again, made over $60 million. If you look at all his video posts, how does it look like he's living? Looks like he's living pretty damn good to me. So it looks like that he has been very smart with his financial gain in the NBA. But at that point in time, you're talking trash about a dude who was a millionaire. I guarantee you, damn near everybody who was out in them crowds listening to you speak would trade their financial situation for Kwame Brown's financial situation in a heartbeat. I would. I mean, for real. That's why I know I trash the Dallas Cowboys and their fans. I will continue to do so. I don't give a damn. But make no mistake about it, there's not a Cowboys player on their roster who I wouldn't trade who I wouldn't trade my financial situation for. I would take the bank account of a Dallas Cowboys punter. Make no mistake about it. Now, if I was ever asked to speak at somebody's event for anything and somebody asked me, hey, how do you feel about the Dallas Cowboys? I would say, motherfuck the Dallas Cowboys. But by no means would I sit here and say, yeah, don't be like any player off of the Dallas Cowboys. I wouldn't say that because financially, they win it in life. And that's where a lot of it starts. So like I said, if my son came to me right now, and said, Daddy, I want to be like the punter from the Dallas Cowboys, I would clench my fists, close my eyes, and grit my teeth because of the Dallas Cowboy aspect of it. But I would still say, attaboy. Because you know what? He would be making a damn good life for himself simply kicking the football. And you don't even have to practice as hard. Shit. So that's a win-win. That is a win-win. So yes, I definitely think that Stephen A. Smith need to be the next one to come out public and apologize to Kwame Brown. I don't think he'll ever do it because he was already on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin defending why he was saying those things, not necessarily about Kwame Brown, but they were having a conversation about why even label an athlete a bust to begin with. So like I said, Lord help us if Jamarcus Russell come out public and start trashing niggas. I am so serious. I am very serious, but I mean, Kwame Brown is winning the week, and like I said, I guarantee you that there's a media outlet right now that would pay him 8, possibly 9 figures because the dude is entertaining. Now, the reason why I believe Kwame Brown would never do that because he knows. I mean, come on now. He's been in the game long enough where, you strike while the iron is hot, but he doesn't want anybody to try to censor any of the content that he has to say. One of the things that he says most is that I don't have to answer to nobody. I can say what I want to. I can get on here. I can cuss you out. I have no bosses to answer to. Nobody is cutting a check for me. I'm my own boss. You know what I mean? So that's why. They would have to probably put in the contract, Kwame, you can say whatever the hell you want. I mean, for real. Boy, Mama's Cooking has taken over the world right now. I am so serious. And a lot of these media niggas is shook. They might act like they not paying no attention. Oh, but they shook because they looking at Joe Public. And I haven't heard anybody in no mainstream line of television talking about him except for Undisputed last week. And now I don't think that's gonna happen again because a few days later is when he came for Skip Bayless because of a video again that resurfaced from 10 years ago of him and Stephen A. Smith dissing the hell out of him and Jalen Rose defending him. And and what can you say? What can you say? He ain't discriminating by color, nothing. But he's shouting out the real. He's shouting out Master P, Jalen Rose, Cam Newton. He's shouting out the real. But to the people that he view as fake, he letting them have it, bruh. But anyway, I know that's no direct sports, but it is a conversation about sports figures. And I swear, man, every time he called Matt Barnes Becky with the good hair, I about lose my shit, bro. It is so funny. Now I should. Steven Jackson might have apologized to Kwame Brown, but Matt Barnes, that's never gonna happen because he done went to a new level of personal on Matt Barnes. But then when you invite somebody to your man region like Matt Barnes did, oh no, bro. No. Absolutely not. But anyway, let's actually get into some active NBA, okay? Playoffs are here. Playoffs are here. Playoffs are here. Oh. Little Viva Las Vegas stuff. I watched that movie Army of the Dead too. That joint went hard. I liked it. It was like that. Check it out on Netflix. Look at that. What's that called? Free publicity. There you go. The NBA playoffs started this past Saturday, and right now, well, first of all, with the play-in games, the Los Angeles Lakers did beat the Golden State Warriors in a very, very entertaining game, 103-100, so I have to backtrack just a little bit. Now, I called from the play-in games. I said that I thought the two teams that would get in from the Eastern Conference would be the Washington Wizards and the Charlotte Hornets. Well, I was halfway right about that. The Celtics did beat the Wizards, and the Indiana Pacers destroyed the Charlotte Hornets, and in the final playing game for the final spot in the Eastern Conference, the Wizards destroyed the Pacers. I mean, all three of the playing games from the Eastern Conference was ass. It was garbage. It really was. None of the games were close. The West was something different. The West was very different. As I said, the Lakers beat the Warriors. Memphis outlasted San Antonio. And then in the final playing game, everybody pretty much had Golden State penciled in to beat Memphis, but then Memphis beat them. So do you think the play-in scenario was a success? Because, I mean, like I said, all of the Eastern Conference games sucked, but all of the Western Conference games were good. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, Western Conference is kind of the better conference. It is, just by a little bit. But like I said, what you actually got was a team in Golden State who finished the regular season as the 8th seed. They finished with a better record than Memphis, but they are not in the playoffs because they lost their two play-in games. So, and then you have and on top of that, you have an MVP candidate, one of the biggest superstars, not just in the NBA, but in sports, being left out despite the fact that he was having a historically great season and he didn't even get a chance to make the playoffs. Now, is that enough to make the play-in games disappear? And let's go back to the regular old, 1 through 8 seed in each conference, particularly next season when I'm pretty sure they'll probably get back to an 82-game schedule. Or do you think that the suspense of the play-in game was okay and it's something they can move forward with? Because if you base that on the Eastern Conference play-in games, it won't be returning. Now, let me tell you something. This is what I was... where the NBA dodged a bullet at, the NBA dodged a bullet by the Lakers beating the Warriors, because the Lakers had lost those two games and they finished as a 6th seed and they're the defending champions and they got LeBron James on their team and they had lost those two playing games and didn't even make the playoffs. What you would have saw was the beginning and the end of the playing games. So the NBA dodged a bullet there. So I was halfway right about the result of the play-in games for both conferences, and the playoffs started on Saturday. And some interesting series, because I'll go matchups. I'll go with the matchups for you. Number 1 seed Philadelphia 76ers. They won their first game 1 against the Washington Wizards. I think that's going to be a tougher series than people want to give credit for, because Washington has really kind of found itself in regards to his team. I think if they actually kept that team together, maybe had an addition of maybe another big slab, maybe like a stretch 4 or something like that, they will actually be a very good team next season. But you have a superstar backcourt with Westbrook and Beal, and I think they'll give Philadelphia some trouble. I mean, even if the Sixers take them out in 5 games, I think it'll be a hard-fought 5 games. But Philly's up 1-0 right now. And when's the next time they play? I think they play tomorrow. Game 2 is tomorrow. Then the 2-7 matchup, which is Brooklyn versus Boston. I don't expect Boston to give Brooklyn any trouble. You know, Brooklyn won game one pretty handily. If Jaylen Brown was playing, I'd say it'd be more feistier than need be. I mean, Brooklyn is going to cakewalk through Boston. What you're really looking for with Brooklyn is what happens after round one. So the 3-6 matchup, which is Milwaukee and Miami, which is a very interesting matchup simply because we know that Milwaukee was the number 1 seed in the East for the last 2 years. And in the bubble last year, Miami spanked them. They did. They beat the shit out of them. And we were kind of looking, I don't want to say we were looking for the same thing, because definitely the Milwaukee Bucks did some retooling, getting Drew Holiday, and then during the season, getting PJ Tucker. So they're a tougher team. You still have, of course, you still have Giannis, Middleton, Brook Lopez, DiVincenzo. And what's happened is, so far, because they had game 2 last night, a total reversal of fortune. Now, game 1 went to overtime, and Milwaukee won by 2. Last night, they destroyed the Miami Heat. They beat them by like 34 points. I mean, they absolutely annihilated them. Giannis didn't even play in the fourth quarter. I mean, that game was over pretty much midway through the first. That game was never in doubt. And people are looking at the Miami Heat kind of like, hey, what's going on? I think Miami really, and I guess everybody is going to get a pass because of the way the scheduling was this year, even though I like the condensed scheduling. I did. I think they should do that it's really the way they used to do it when in regular seasons past. When I was growing up, you know, you didn't start the season in October. You started the regular season in November. And I think they started starting the season in like 01 in October, but even that was Halloween, you know. I think that's when we first started doing that, and about 20 years ago. Oddly enough, the first game I remember was Jordan's first game as a Wizard, Kwame Brown's first game as a Wizard, you know what I mean? So, but, you know, as a kid, schedule started in November, and they were playing every other night. Maybe sometimes you had 2 nights off, but then sometimes you had back-to-back. So I didn't dislike the condensed scheduling this year. It's just, honestly, it just proves how motherfucking soft these basketball players have gotten now. I mean, real shit. How motherfucking soft these basketball players have gotten. And don't get me started on the load managing shit. I'm not even gonna go there. But what you're seeing with Miami is they have to really start taking the regular season more seriously. And I'm not saying that they didn't, but so many DNPs for Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. I think next year, what Miami's goal is going to be is to definitely try to be a top 4 seed. Because right now, Milwaukee's handing them that ass. And in the 4-5 matchup, the Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks, yo, it was so great to see Madison Square Garden packed, yo. Even though Trae Young silenced them niggas, because the Hawks won by 2, it was so great to see New York City packed for a basketball game. And that's going to be a tooth-and-nail dogfight series. That one, I'm still going with the Knicks to win that series, but I could see that being a 7-gamer. Now, as for the Western Conference, something's going on now with Memphis, bruh, because they're the 8th seed playing the number 1 seed Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell didn't play. Memphis won. Memphis is up 1-0. Memphis is clicking right now. But stop sleeping on that boy, John Morant. Stop sleeping on him. Now, the series, the 2-7 matchup is the Suns and the Lakers. Now, I said for the last 2 weeks, the Suns don't have a prayer in hell against the Lakers. Maybe I want to rethink that, because the Suns kind of gave the Lakers the business in game 1. Devin Booker in his first career playoff game showed up and showed out. But here's the thing. Right on schedule in the playoffs, Chris Paul is hurt. I mean, it never fails with Chris Paul, particularly when you're on a team that potentially could win a championship. Now, last year when he was with OKC, he overachieved. Nobody expected nothing from OKC in the playoffs. And, of course, he was healthy the full way. Now granted, the Suns aren't the favorite. Coming into the series, they weren't the favorite to beat the Lakers. But conveniently, Chris Paul gets damn hurt. And I know it's not on purpose or anything like that, but kind of a shoulder contusion. He ran into LeBron, and then he tried to get some payback on him. He think nobody noticed that shit. He tried to do that shit that I know LeBron probably feels some type of way. He ain't gonna throw his boy under the bus like that, but I'm pretty sure he called him afterwards and was like, "Yo, Chris, what the hell?" Because he tried to do that move that was done to Kevin Love a couple of years ago in the playoffs when they were playing, who was it, with Boston, and almost like he was trying to dislocate LeBron's shoulder. Like, that was some low-key dirty shit. It was. I caught that. I was like, yo, bruh. Because it was pretty much the same thing that happened with Chris Paul. I don't think LeBron did that on purpose, but that could be a series because the Lakers just don't look right, man. And now, I've said this, that I didn't think the Lakers were winning it this year. But this is why they don't look right, bro. AD doesn't look right. LeBron doesn't look right. I don't know. So this is Phoenix's opportunity. Now that's the 2-7 matchup. Now the 3-6 matchup was Portland and Denver. Denver being the 3 seed, Portland the 6. That series is now tied up at 1. Portland won game 1. Denver won last night. They won last night, even though Dame dropped 22 points in 6 minutes. I don't think I'm mistaken on that. There was a point in the second quarter where in 6 minutes, was it 6 minutes or was it quicker than that? Dame just went on fire, but the end result was Portland actually got their asses kicked. They got their asses beat. They did. So that's another series. I actually like Portland to win that series. I think this is going to be the time now where Denver misses Jamal Murray. Even though Jokic is going to win the MVP, and I don't think he is, but I respect it for anything. He played every single game. I still think Chris Paul should be the MVP because Chris Paul played every game, but I think won because my emphasis is on most valuable player. But I'm not going to get into that. I've done that the last 2-3 shows. But I think that Portland-Denver series is that's another 7-gamer. But I think, actually, if Portland gets him, I think Portland's going to get him in 6. I do. If Portland gets him, they're going to get him in 6. But I do think Portland is going to win that series. And now, the 4-5 matchup, the team that I had coming out the Western Conference, the Los Angeles Clippers, 4 seed, Dallas Mavericks, 5th seed. Boy, the Clippers are at it again and early. They lost. They lost game 1. Bruh, let me tell you something. If the Clippers lose this goddamn series, because for one, it looked like they tanked to avoid the Lakers in the first round. And this is really when you want to face the Lakers. Because the Lakers are clearly not healthy. But if you lose, but maybe they didn't want to see Portland either. Because the only way the Clippers were seeing the Lakers, how it ended up being, was the Lakers being a 7, Clippers would have had been a 2. They didn't start it. They starters the last 2 games against OKC and Houston, garbage and garbage plus, and they lost both games. Now, they got the Mavericks. Bruh, their game 2 was tonight, just like the Lakers and Phoenix game 2 was tonight. If the Clippers lose this series to the Mavericks, I'm not going to go there and say that they're going to blow this whole thing up because you invested a lot of resources in getting Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And you got the whole new stadium. If you're Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, you have made it clear that you want your own crib. You don't want to be tied to the Lakers anymore. The Clippers used to have their own stadium before Staples was built. So for the last 20 years, the last 21 years, really damn near 22 years, since the 99-2000 season, the Clippers and Lakers have been sharing the same building. The Lakers done hung 6 titles in that bitch, and the Clippers haven't even been to a conference final, even though over the last 10 years, they have clearly been the better team. But, oh, by the way, the one year the Lakers made the playoffs, since Kobe, they win the chip. So, and the Clippers, to me, are the deepest team in basketball. I've called them to come out of the West, but they stink in late game situations. If I'm Ty Lue and it's a close game, stop letting Kawhi and Paul George play hero ball. That's what you got Rondo for. You got Rondo to organize that. Look, Kawhi and Paul George are not as good of playmakers as LeBron James. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because Rondo was on the Lakers last year, who won the title. In late game situations, you would see LeBron with the ball. We know he's going to make the correct basketball play. You saw Rondo with the ball too, but bro, I can't sit here and say that Kawhi and Paul George are going to make the correct basketball play other than setting up a shot for themselves. They have to win tonight. I still think they're going to win this series, but if they lose tonight and go to Dallas down 0-2, like I said, I don't know if they're going to blow this thing up, but let me tell you who looks bad right now. Everybody in the Clipper organization. Let me tell you who would look great. Doc Rivers. Yeah, Doc Rivers may have blown a 3-1 lead last year, but they beat Dallas last year. That's for damn sure. They did beat Dallas. So, ooh, man. I mean, this is, the time for talking and all that hype with the Clippers is over with, bruh. It's over with. When Rondo said that this team has championship DNA, I don't know. I agree with it only because you have players that are on that roster who have won championships. Himself, Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka. They have won championships. So that's the championship DNA. Does that mean that your championship DNA is going to be there while you're in a Clippers uniform? That remains to be seen. It does. That remains to be seen. Because right now, Paul George ain't got no damn championship DNA. Where is it at? And as much as I love Pat Beverly for the way he plays, ain't no championship DNA in that dude yet. That remains to be seen. So, we shall see. So that's what the playoffs are looking like right now. Now let me get on to the NF of the L for a little bit of news. Aaron Rodgers did not show up at Packers OTAs. He did not show up. He's in Hawaii. Finally did an interview on SportsCenter last night. And he said that it's not about Jordan Love, that he ain't got nothing against Jordan Love. It's really about a whole culture thing that is going on. And I believe him somewhat because basically this rift between him and the general manager started last year when they drafted Jordan Love. I mean, but I think Aaron Rodgers, from being Jordan Love, that's what Aaron Rodgers was. Jordan Love 16 years ago when they drafted him, and you still had Brett Favre. So I think he can empathize with Jordan Love as far as that is concerned. So I do believe him there. I believe him somewhat there because I know that he was in Jordan Love's shoes 16 years ago, but I'm pretty sure he thought, well, they're not going to do that to me. As a lot of people are guilty of getting complacent sometimes. They're not going to do that to me. I'm better than Favre, even though I understand you're a 3-time MVP like Favre. You've won 1 Super Bowl like Favre. Favre went to 2. We're still waiting for Aaron Rodgers. And it happened in year 16. No, excuse me. Brett Favre left Green Bay after 16 seasons. How crazy of a coincidence is that? Brett Favre was in Green Bay 16 years, gone. Bart Starr, 16 years after that, gone. Well, Aaron Rodgers, this was just year 16 for him. And I honestly think he want to get out of Dodge. I mean, we shall see. I don't know, because it's kind of mixed messaging with him. Kind of. But, hey, there's a spot in Denver, Colorado for you, Aaron, baby. Come on. Come on down to Denver. That's what we do. We'll get veteran quarterbacks and we win Super Bowls with them. John Elway wasn't drafted a Bronco. He didn't play anywhere else neither, but he wasn't drafted a Bronco. What happened? Got 2 Super Bowl rings. Peyton Manning, all them years in Indianapolis, all of those years in Indianapolis, played his best football when he was in Denver. People might disagree with that. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. 2012, 2013, 2014 was the best years of Peyton Manning's career outside of 2004, when he had broken the then touchdown record with 49, which was broken the next year. Well, broken 3 years later by Brady, then to be broken 6 more years later by Peyton Manning. And that's a record that's still standing. 55 touchdown passes. He did that in a Broncos uni, bitch. I'm serious. I am so serious. So come on, A-Rod. Come on down to Denver. You 37 years old. You gonna be 38 till December. We can get 4 good years out of you. Just like Peyton. Well, 3 anyway, because Peyton's last year, he was not the Peyton Manning from 2012, 2013, and 2014, but we won the Super Bowl that year. Ain't that a bitch? So yeah, come on, Aaron. Come on, Aaron. I don't know the chances of that happening. You know, wishful thinking. I mean, hey, I just know that would take us to immediate Super Bowl contention. Now, what I've heard is that either we'd have to give up Jerry Jeudy or Bradley Chubb, and if I had the choice, buy Jerry Jeudy. Like straight up, I don't want to give up Bradley Chubb, but you know, it is what it is. We'll see. So with that, oh, by the way, I did not know that the Carolina Panthers drafted Chuba Hubbard out of Oklahoma State, which is kind of interesting. Even though he was a first-round pick, Chuba Hubbard could have probably been a first-rounder had he came out in the 2020 draft. But, you know, it is what it is, because that dude can play. So that leads me to thinking a couple of things. One, Carolina just paid Christian McCaffrey a boatload of money, and they want to try a 2-headed monster running attack that will preserve him as well as get production from somewhere else other than him. And 2, Christian McCaffrey may not be a Carolina Panther, but for so much longer. He may be a Panther for 3 more years, and then that might be it, especially if Chuba Hubbard is contributing. I mean, think about the Indianapolis Colts and Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack looked like their running back. He got hurt in a Jonathan Taylor last year, rookie from Wisconsin, and that is his job now because he showed up and he showed out. But anyway, with that being said, with a buzzer. All right, shout out goes to the NBA for mentioning and looking to press forward, keep their foot on the gas in regard to the George Floyd police reform law, because that is something that is still very important and something that needs to happen. And it's honestly, it kind of feels like we've all gone into cruise control since the Derek Chauvin verdict was read. And like I said, he hasn't even gotten the amount of time that he's going to serve yet. But I think we were so happy, if you can say that, but we were so pleased with the result. That's a better way to put it. We were pleased with the result, guilty on all 3 charges. I don't think anybody expected that. But I do think a level of cruise control has been exacted since that verdict, and the level of police brutality and police killings, particularly of unarmed black people, still hasn't stopped. It has not stopped. The situation in North Carolina with the Brown kid and hearing what their DA had to say about it was absolutely disgusting. You know, that, and they're calling it a justified killing. So nothing is going to happen to that police officer who murdered that kid from North Carolina. The cop who shot Jacob Blake in the back 5 or 7 times, he's back to active duty. So we cannot fall asleep at the wheel. We cannot take our foot off of the gas, because something still has to be done about these cops. I mean, these cops use their force excessively. They just don't. You know, they don't. My kids was at Short Pump Park maybe a couple of days ago, and I saw when I came home from work, I saw they had police badge stickers on. I take that shit off. Honestly, I didn't say it like that, but I was like, nah, I've told my son, look, respect the police officers, but do not trust them. And I'm being so real with that. I'm not gonna sit here and tell my son disrespect the cops and, say, F the police and all of that stuff, but don't trust them. Don't trust them. Because the first thing they see when they look at me, when they look at my son, is my black skin. So automatically, I'm guilty before proven innocent if I find myself in any type of a situation. So we definitely need to keep the envelope moving on this George Floyd Police Reform Act, because they still out here killing us. They still out here laying us down without a second thought. The Kamaya Blakely thing, that's touchy because of the fact that she did have a weapon and she was about to use it on somebody else. I think death could have been prevented there. I've, talked to some people who kind of disagree, and I've talked to some people who agree. But again, that doesn't take away from the fact that I believe that death could have been preventable. And that doesn't take away from the fact that despite the circumstance of Kamaya Blakely, like I said, that shit in North Carolina was flat out murder. Flat out murder. And it's like, I'm sorry. I'm be the first one to say defund the police. Because anyway. Good show. Good show indeed. And definitely, if you're not a member of the Sports Plus Life family, definitely hit that subscribe button and become part of the Sports Plus Life fam. Any questions, comments, or concerns, definitely leave them in that comment box below. It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. Hope everybody has a blessed day. Hope everybody has a blessed rest of the week. I'm out this bit, and I will see y'all next week. Peace.